Joining us now to discuss this is medical expert Dr. James Simmons. He's a hospitalist and nurse practitioner as well. In a restraining order, Evans claims Stacey had been abusing her since she became pregnant with his last child last year. So why wasn't this issue addressed before things got out of hand like they are now?
This is unfortunately a pretty common pattern that is seen in domestic abuse situations, particularly, you mentioned pregnancy. A lot of times, a stressor in the life or a stressor in the relationship can actually change the dynamics of a relationship. So, as many of us know, having a child is incredibly stressful. There's lots of dynamics that go into having a child. And if there was already a foundation of possible verbal and emotional abuse that was going on at that point, then when a pregnancy kicks in, it can elevate those things to, I don't necessarily want to say the next level because I think that diminishes verbal and emotional abuse, which are just as serious and just as important of a topic than physical abuse. But sometimes that verbal and emotional abuse, because of another situation or a situation that can cause stress like a pregnancy, can change into physical abuse. I think it's really important for everyone to remember at any point in time, if you're watching this, if you are one of the 1/3 of women overall or 1/4 of men overall, or in our community, in the Black community, 45% of Black women and 40% of men experience some sort of either verbal, sexual, emotional, or physical abuse. This really impacts a lot of people, and there are ways to get help if it's happening to you.
That's a big percentage, 40%. So can you give us advice on how we should support a victim when we find out that somebody may be going through this?
Yeah, I think the first thing to do is to remember that you don't necessarily get to place your judgment and how you feel about the relationship on the situation. There are many complex dynamics that go into abusive relationships, and even more complex dynamics in terms of someone leaving an abusive relationship, right? It can, if you've never been a part of that or experienced that, it's pretty easy to say, well, why doesn't that person just leave? It's infinitely more complicated than that. So the best thing for you to do, particularly if someone has come to you and said that they need help, is to understand that you need to be a judgment-free, listening, safe place for them. Now, sometimes that's hard, right? We're not necessarily equipped naturally to understand how do we help someone who's unfortunately been, in a domestic violence situation. So one of the things to do, I love this resource, 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE, or you can text the word safe or start or home to 88788. Those individuals, not only if you are in a domestic or emotional or sexual abuse situation, but also if you're someone who wants to help someone, but you don't know where to start, you can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE, and they can actually help guide you how you can help someone else who's seeking, help from you.
That is really, really good advice. Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us today on BNC. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. And we have much more news ahead, everyone. Still ahead, the possible aftershocks from the